Family, friends, teacher, disciple. न बंधुर न मित्रम गुरुर नैव शिष्यम. Duality of I and others. The I is the black circle of the physical body, with the inner blue circle of the mind. The outside of the circle is the others. In the first part of this quarter verse of Sri Adi Shankaracharya's Nirvāṇaṣatkam of Na Bandhur Na Mitram, the duality aspect is more strongly implied rather than expressed. In earlier verses, the punyam or good deeds and papam, the bad deeds, or saukhyam, the joy, and dukkham, sorrow, are expressly the contradictory dualities, and there seems to be no necessity of delving to find another interpretation. But in this case, we need to draw the meaning out with certain additions. If we were to extend family to their dual counterparts of foreigners or strangers, and friends to their dual counterpart of foes, we may understand the verse better. The impressions on the mind that are embedded as traits, tendencies, and habits remain latent until they are drawn out to the surface by the heat of a relationship. With the first point of contact being the family members, the next avenue are the circle of friends with their counterparts of strangers and foes included. Now, along with the old impressions, there is room for new impressions to grow and be formed. This is a never-ending process and addresses the dualism that is there on the distinction between I and the rest of the world. It also ensures the motion of the karmic wheel, which never ceases and continues the cycle of birth, life, and death. But contrarily and in reality, the impressions are within the self and are the source for enjoyment, either good or bad. Let us look at how this happens and in what form. Duality within the self. The relationship, when passes through the dual slits of the almost always recurring perceptions of hot and cold, one enjoys the myriad hues of mixed feelings. The perception of hot and cold are responsible for eliciting the latent impressions. The heat or temperature is the variable in all relationships depending on the degrees of hot or cold. The ship moves from one relation to another due to the variable temperamental emotions. For example, it moves to relation 1 towards the warmth of love, to relation 2 towards simmering resentment, to relation 3 towards burning rage, or to relation 4 towards chilling dread, or to relation 5 towards cold indifference, to relation 6, towards cool serenity, or to relation 7, towards comfortable coziness of familiarity, or to relation 8, towards the blazing flames of passion. As you can see, all these diverse relationships are described in terms of heat or temperature, of hot or cold of a relationship, and is accompanied by a specific emotion. So when we understand this, we come to know that every feeling of relationship is stemming from the basic idea of duality only. On the other hand, the relationship with the Guru keeps an even keel and brings to the surface the dormant impression of longing to attain Shivoham. All this happens through the revolving motion of the karmic wheel. At the appropriate time, the specific person appears in one's life to enjoy the past impressions. Guru and Shishya. The latter part of the verse says, neither identify as the Guru nor the disciple. If one identifies with either of these, again the distinction of I and the rest of the world remains. The theory of relativity unerringly is applicable where relationships are concerned. Relativity in the instance of relationships is the temperature variant. The theory that explains Shivoham is the theory of absolute, which is without dualism. The sense of I and thou dissolve and an all-inclusive self is realized.